I'm Hunter, and this is Sky,
We bought one-way tickets to Colombia,
and
and we
we want
want
to
to
bring
bring
you
you
with
with
us.
us.
Guys, today we want to share our experience with you arriving to Colombia, our first time, my first time overseas, Sky's first time in South America. We want to give you some tips that we wish we would have known before we got here, and also an awesome adventure story that we have for you guys that we feel is worth sharing with the world. So here we are. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so we flew to Colombia from Florida, and we get off the plane, and we're going through customs.
The flight was only 4 hours, by the way.
Super
So
cheap flights.
yeah, pretty cheap flights. If it was 350 combined, 4 hour flight, pretty easy. Once we get here, the first thing that I really notice is that everything is in Spanish. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Even on the plane that we were in, the small plane that we took, mainly Spanish speaking people. So that already, I was like, all right, we're in it, we're immersed, here we are. So we get to the airport, and all the signs are in Spanish as well. Sky and I were both smart. We're doing a pretty good job of making our way through, but it was still. I love that feeling of being in a new place and you're uncomfortable, you're figuring things out.
Like a little out of your comfort zone, but you're like intrigued.
Yeah, totally. So it's really cool. It's like we get here and it's just like a new place. No one speaks your language, so everything's new to us. We are reading the signs and we see immigration, customs. And so in our minds, or in my mind, I was thinking that we're going to have to go into this room and get interrogated. And, it was going to be this long, drawn out process, which we see this man sitting behind this glass thing, and he says something to us in Spanish. And I don't know what the heck he said.
We're like, Inglés?
Inglés. And he says, "Do you have anything to declare?" And this guy and I look at each other, we're like, no. And then he's just like, go. So we walk past.
Through.
And then, as we are entering like the outside of the airport, we see this guy standing there with
Holding
a sign. And it has Sky's name on it. It says Sky and Hunter. So we ended up hiring a driver that we knew through one of Sky's friends who's from Colombia. And this man Daniel was super helpful.
Yeah, we're gonna link his information too, because he was a great driver and he spoke English, so it was really helpful, like first impressions in the airport, where to go, what to do.
He brought us SIM cards that we had asked him to bring, because, by the way, your phone is not going to work the same. So we thought that SIM cards was the way. It was really nice, though, to have your hand being held, kind of, like being in a new place like that, because we asked him, where do we exchange our money? Like, we need cash. And so he takes us into the airport to the money exchange place where they didn't speak any English. So we're waiting in line
We're
for
like,
our turn.
How much should we exchange?
Yeah.
Like, we know the rate is $1 is close to 4 pesos.
We know that because our friend recommended getting this currency app that shows you the conversion. And we're waiting in line like...
But still, like, we're like, how much are we going to need?
How much? We don't know how much we're going to need. Like, should we keep some U.S. cash and then trade the other
Can we
for
just
Colombian
go to an
peso?
ATM later?
Yeah,
like,
can we use our card? Like, we just didn't know any of this stuff, which is kind of naive of us now. But nonetheless, we're trying to figure this out in line. It's our turn coming up. And I'm just like, I guess I'll just exchange like $400. Like, I don't know if that's going to be a lot or a little. Like, and I don't know like what 4,000 Colombian pesos means, like we see the exchange, but we don't really know what that can buy.
Yeah.
So I give her $400 in cash. Sky gives her some cash as well, and she returns back 1.5 million pesos. And we're like, how much is this? Is this a
we're
lot?
We're millionaires all of a sudden.
Yeah. We have no idea. So nonetheless, we get in the car with Daniel.
He took us to the grocery store so that we would have food for the weekend.
At the Airbnb that we got,
Yeah.
which was awesome. Going to that grocery store, you remember?
Yeah, just seeing the price of everything, we were like, are you kidding me?
So the thing is, we're in this grocery store in this little town, and no one speaks English there.
We're like pulling Spanish words from our like elementary Spanish class brain.
It was
like,
brutal.
what is rice? How do you say tomato?
Yeah.
Like, we're just saying any word we can in Spanish to try to find like the food we're trying to find.
We're asking the people there, "Tu hablas inglés?"
They're
No.
like, no.
They're like, they even laugh, like, no, like,
Yeah.
they, like, we are in the heart of it. So we exchange our, we go to the cash register and they help us out. Everyone's super kind, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like making our way through, but it's just a very clunky process because like we don't speak Spanish fluently.
Nonetheless, it was fun.
Super fun. Such an adventure.
So we get through the grocery store, we have our groceries for the weekend, and now Daniel is driving us through the mountains to La Vega, which is where our Airbnb was.
Yeah.
So-
Where we thought it was.
Where we thought it was, right?
Yeah.
So it was actually like on the outskirts of La Vega.
Even though on Airbnb on the map it shows a pinpoint in La Vega. So I did some research before and I looked on Google Maps. I put the little guy in the street and I was like, look, it's right here, right in town. We can just walk there and get groceries.
So like our tip is triple check after you double check, because we thought we would be in town, have access to whatever we needed. Come to find out, like, our Airbnb was 45 to 50 minutes outside of La Vega through these crazy roads
In the mountains,
in the mountains.
with roads that are not paved, a lot of potholes, dogs that just run free.
Yeah, how was that back road for you?
That was an interesting time. Martha, who was the host and owner of the Airbnb, was super kind. So we messaged her trying to get a refund because she said, oh, the Airbnb is about 10 minutes away. Everything to her was 10 minutes away. She's like, oh, the Airbnb is 10 minutes away. And we're like, oh, well, how are we going to get there with our suitcases? She's like, oh, well, I'll pick you up. So Daniel drops us off there. Martha picks us up. We're driving in the car. Martha doesn't really speak English. She does a little bit, but her English was as good as our Spanish. So we were like trying to build rapport and communicate, but it wasn't working very well. That's where I learned, can I open the window in Spanish phrase.
Can you
Yeah, can you?
puedes abrir la ventana?
Hmm. Can you open the window? Por favor. So that was interesting. Yeah, so for whatever reason, Martha, this poor old lady's a wild driver. Like, she did not see the potholes until they were like 2 feet in front of the car, and she would slam on the brakes.
All over the place.
And then she would like press on the gas, and we're like going on these twists and turns, dodging dogs and chickens. And it was just so insane.
This is after like 4 hours in an airplane, an hour and a half in Daniel's car through the loopy.
Through the mountains. Still, that was wild, but
So we're already like pretty motion sick, and
We're
now
done.
we're just being jolted around.
it
Martha's
was a
car.
freaking roller coaster. And we pull up, we arrive at this spot, and it's like dark, dusk, and she turns around, she looks at us, she says, now we walk. And we're like, what? She's like, aventura. And I'm like, what does that mean? And this guy's like, adventure. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's been the adventure already. So we get our suitcases out of the car, and then we have to walk. First we cross this bamboo bridge that she's like, yeah, you used to be able to drive over this road, but then it got eroded. So like they built
like
this
half there, half not, and we're just walking around.
over bamboo, just trusting it with our lives as we cross this river. And then we get to the other side, and about 5-minute walk or so, we arrive at the Airbnb. Beautiful property that this lady Martha has. We're like walking over the grass, just grateful to be here, and we see this awesome round structure made of bamboo and this wraparound porch with a little teepee looking house. It looks like a large yurt, and the lights are on. It looks really cozy. So we arrived there at the steps, and the homemade stone steps walking up to the front porch area, and I see this banner that's like decorated, but it wasn't really like stood out to, like I noticed it, but it said something in Spanish, so it didn't really click in my mind. It said Feliz Cumpleaños. And we kind of walk into the kitchen, and she's like looking at us like, are they gonna acknowledge like that? And then I start to like see, it was a long day of traveling, but I start to see like balloons and then the cake, and it all clicked. Oh wait, this is my birthday. Feliz Cumpleaños is happy birthday.
We had such a long day, he forgot it was even his birthday.
So we set down our bags, and I'm like, oh wow, Sky and this lady Martha were conniving this plan, and they surprised me with a birthday cake, a bottle of wine, 2 glasses, and Sky got me these really awesome shorts that I love, and it was just a really cool birthday surprise. Awesome after long day of travels, and it was only $80 a night at this 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, full kitchen Airbnb.
Beautiful.
And
So
beautiful. Because we had such troubles, this lady Martha said, oh well, I'll cook you guys breakfast.
Yeah, so we wake up to this we wake up and we can finally see our surroundings. So beautiful, like fruit trees all around. Martha's like, here, have this guava. Just picks it up off the ground, and we're just eating this delicious native fruit. And then she cooked us a Colombian breakfast. That was my first arepa. Love them.
Arepas, plantains, plátano,
yeah.
fruit, eggs, delicious. We had a whole table sitting at this wooden table. Awesome breakfast. Highly recommend coming here.
Yeah.
It was a great time. So we built this little rock tower.
Yeah, there's like a little river next to the Airbnb, so we went and explored that.
And Martha, she's such a lovely lady. She showed us like her quiet little swimming hole that she
skinny dips in
she
sometimes.
skinny dips in. She meditates there.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, walking with her, showing us the way. Second day there's this little restaurant that we were recommended to go by. Had no idea there was a restaurant there anyways, but just within walking distance, 10 minutes away, there's this little restaurant, and it's built out of bamboo, and it's like you're totally just one with nature there.
Just like we are right now, like you're just sitting out in nature. There's 3 man-made ponds with fish, and that's what you eat, and you can catch your own fish, and then they cook it for you.
Yeah, so that was fantastic. The food there, and then we got this massive table full of food, and we spent like $10 a person with a beer as well. So like in the States, it would be double that at least.
Yeah, the beer was 2,000 pesos, which is 50 cents.
Yeah. It was fantastic. There were dogs walking around that were like mellow, and the dogs kind of mind their own business here.
Yeah.
Nobody owns them really. They're just free range. There were chickens, there were cats.
And everything is just coexisting.
Coexisting, that's a great word for it.
Yeah.
Also, there were these awesome parrots there at the restaurant, and when we were done eating, we went over to say hello to these parrots, and they were so like ready to walk on our hand, and they come up on our shoulder, and we're feeding them a little bit of plantain that we had left. So it was just such a great time.
Yeah.
Such a fantastic time. That was great. And then, finishing up with our Airbnb, Martha drives us back to town, where we are finally
moving on to our next destination.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was we are adults now.
The training wheels are off officially.
Yeah.
Martha, like, there's no more Daniel, no more Martha. We're dropped off in town.
No one's translating for us.
We need to find our way to our next destination, which
is
will be in our next video.
Yeah. We're gonna save that for the next video for you guys. Today is day 3. Filming completed.
We did it.
We are going to edit this, post it. Stay tuned for tomorrow because we can't wait to share the juicy experience of riding shotgun on the bus, on a full bus, picking up more people on the way, and what it took to get us to the next destination without speaking Spanish, and the kindness of strangers.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one. Ciao.